Ladies and gentlemen, SuckItUpUSA.com presents Suck It Up MMA Live. No excuses, no quit. With your hosts, positioned firmly in front of the control board, and out of the red corner, Tom McManus! Across the desk, and out of the blue corner, Larry the Professor Sheely!
All right, our special guest this week, Justin Garcia. He is from the Bronx in New York. He's got the Jungle Gym, the biggest training gym in the New York area.
Yeah, I would think so. Yes,
and
sir.
man, he does a great job. Let's welcome him in to Tom McManus Uncensored. Justin, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show down here in Jacksonville, Florida.
What's going on, fellas? Good to be here.
Yeah, we're great. We're honored to have you, man. It's fantastic stuff. Talk about your MMA background, Justin, how you got into it, what gets you excited about it today, and what to look forward to in the future.
Well, I started. I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt, like Professor Larry down there, and I started maybe about 11 years ago. And when I started, it was all about MMA. You know, that's what I had seen. That's what brought me to a jiu-jitsu school, and it wasn't until after I actually started training that I realized that there were other types of competitions. But I'm MMA, you know, from the beginning, and you know, I represent jiu-jitsu obviously, but MMA is what I wanted to do right from the very start. And I fought a couple times professionally. You know, back when I was active, it wasn't as easy as it is nowadays for these guys. These guys have an event every week, but I actually trained for about 10 fights, and only 2 wound up happening. You know, so yeah, you just had to, you know, keep your nose to the grindstone back in the days, and I wound up, you know, 2-0. I wound up competing in grappling more often because, you know, there's just so many more grappling events, MMA events back in the day. But nowadays, you know, I got one of the biggest teams in the country, so no complaints.
You know, I think what's awesome about, you know, MMA when we talk to guys like you and you're fighting back in the old days, and we've had other guests on, not only on this show, but our MMA live show on the Suck It Up Radio Network, and they talk about the no-holds barred days, you know, where what you couldn't knee in the nuts, you couldn't gouge eyes, and you couldn't fish hook. Everything else was fair game. A lot different today, but man, that's definitely old school fighting when you think about it.
Well, fortunately, I wound up fighting more on the outside than I did legitimately in a ring because the opportunities weren't there, you know. But yeah, back in the days that I tried, it wasn't MMA. It was NHB, no holds barred, or if you were jiu-jitsu and wanted to show off, we'd call it Valley Tudo and try to sound all cultures and stuff.
Yeah, Valley Tudo, that's right. Chim, yeah, good to hear from you, man. Thanks for calling in. This is Larry.
No problem. What's up, brother?
Yeah, talk about your jiu-jitsu career. You've had some very big events. Abu Dhabi is one, I believe you fought in, and some others. Share a little bit on that side of the business, if you will, what you did, how you got into it, and, you know, the levels that you took it to.
Cool. I started competing in grappling tournaments pretty early on. Probably I think it was 3 weeks, a little less than 3 weeks after I first started training that I competed for the first time, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But all I knew was that I wanted to get as good as I can get. And the grappling tournaments, believe it or not, just didn't mean much to me. So I really didn't have a lot invested in it. So I competed in everything. I didn't care. Got my ass kicked a lot in the beginning, but eventually, you know, I won a couple of advanced belts in Grappler's Quest, and you know, I made it to Abu Dhabi, and unfortunately, I got a Hajar in the first round. No. I was a victim 1 of 8 that weekend. I like to describe it.
Yeah.
But, you know,
by the way, for the listeners who don't know, Hajar Gracie, arguably one of the best ever, was his first draw in the Abu Dhabi. So luck of the draw there, Jim.
Jeez.
Yeah. It turns out he's actually pretty good.
You know,
I try not to buy to the hype.
It's amazing how those guys, you know, the pioneers that they are and have been, and I mean, yes, the normal, like the lay person out there on the street. Do you know the Gracies? Of course, I know the Gracies. They were the guys that always came in with the full gi, They always got someone on the ground, and they take a couple shots. Next thing you know, they were like snapping their arm or putting them in some kind of hold. And it's great. Look, any type of martial arts. I took it for football, helped me a lot. The Taekwondo game, and Larry with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I love the fact that it helps smaller guys especially be able to not only defend themselves but also compete in something that maybe they wouldn't be able to compete in based on their stature.
No, yeah, absolutely. To me, the jiu-jitsu training is it's all about probability. You know, what you're doing is you're increasing your probability. You take a 120-pound jiu-jitsu black belt, you put him against, 300-pound, DNs from the NFL. I'm not sure where I'm putting my money. It's probably going to be on the NFL guy, just because he's so big. But when you talk about probability, if he stands any chance of winning, the little guy, it's going to be with something like jiu-jitsu. And that's what I appreciated about it from the beginning,
Justin Garcia, Jungle Gym Martial Arts in the Bronx. He's also got Master Chim's Jungle Journal, and if you go to junglegymbronx.com, you can get it absolutely free just by signing up. What's a couple of your secret tricks and training tips that people could get in the Jungle Journal, Master Chim?
Well, one of the things that Professor Larry knows this, we're big on no excuses, and I think most people, and this, obviously crosses all the lines, no matter what you're doing with yourself. When you live a life with no excuses, anything's possible, and it's a pace. Living a life with no excuses, to me, is a pace of living. And it's a pace that if you keep up with it, usually you can do things that you didn't think you could do.
That's fantastic. You know what? That's what we say here with Suck It Up. No excuses and no quit. You can take those principles with you in everyday life, every part of your life, every single time.
No, 100%. You fought in you played in the NFL. I fought in the NFL, I'm sure, on some Sundays. And you know more than most people. When you don't put the excuses in, you put the work in its place, anything's possible.
What's funny about NFL guys, though? They don't like getting hit in the face. That's why we wear face masks.
I played T3 ball myself, so I know.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
One thing, Chim, I want to share with the listeners as well is that life changes in what you're doing up in the Bronx. Tom and I are real big on anti-bullying, working with kids, and just seeing how your gym has grown in the past couple years. I know, and checking, you've got a big tournament coming up. I don't know the number you're shooting to get these kids at a tournament to compete, but it seems out of this world. Can you share some of the growth in your gym and some of the things you've done to help the kids?
Absolutely. I've always said, I'm born and raised in the Bronx, and I didn't grow up, homeless or anything like that. It certainly gets a lot worse than my childhood. But, looking back, I probably had it rougher than most. And I always said my headquarters is going to stay in the Bronx. I don't care how big I get, what I do, how many schools I have. My headquarters or my office is always going to be in the Bronx. And a lot of it's because, these kids, I basically try to create the place that I wish I had when I was younger. And
right.
And this upcoming tournament, there's a grappler's cross coming up, and we have something called Operation 200. And I'm actually going to bring 200 students to go and compete, which has never been done before. And, it's a great, let's be realistic. I do own a business, and it's great marketing, but most people don't realize it's me really starting this campaign just to sort of trick a lot of these kids that probably never would have had the confidence to compete, to sort of sweep them up in the fever, to get them believing in themselves and just giving it a shot. And in the Bronx, it's like so many places around the country, but it's not around the world. There's just not a lot of opportunity for young kids to start believing in themselves, and also to start being held to a standard that they're just not used to. So many kids these days are babied, and they don't try their hardest, and they're told that that's okay, and it's a lot of nonsense. So we really want a fast pace, a high standard, a lot of pressure, but we're with these kids every step of the way.
Well, you hit it right on the head, especially in kids that come up and through a rough environment. They got to channel that energy, and you get them in something constructive. You see it firsthand. Gone are the fights in the streets, or they're limited because they realize, you don't need to do any of that stuff to prove anything. Get into something constructive. Get into something where you can channel that energy and get to accomplishing things like learning the MMA game or learning the fight game and competing and doing something worthwhile. you think all these kids, and there are plenty of kids that are out there that either don't have the support at home or grow up in an environment that it's tough the minute they walk out the door. But, man, if you get them something constructive, you really can change their whole way of looking at life. That's a great thing.
100%. I tell my guys, I survived my adolescence, so it's not about, I had this fairy tale upbringing. And a lot of these guys, they just need another opportunity to do something. They need to be distracted with something positive. And, that's what I try to do with the Jungle Gym.
Chim, let me ask you this. In terms of Grappler's Quest, when is the Grappler's Quest tournament you're talking about, and how close are you guys to the 200 mark? Are you going to make it?
No, a little secret that I'm letting out on the national airwaves is I'm actually trying to get a lot more than 200. The 200 is a cinch. We have that all about sewn up. The tournament is March 24th. And we're probably at about 170, 180 already, which already beats our record of 161, which is already a record that we did last year at Grappler's Quest. So the 200 is more of a symbol, if you will.
I got you. And one other quick question now. Actually, it's a statement. Chim, I want to stay in touch with you on this. And the kids who go out there, suck it up, and medal in this tournament, I'd like to provide some swag from Suck It Up USA for these guys who do that. Is that cool?
Oh, 100%. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, brother.
And I tell you another thing, Chim. I'm actually going out to Salt Lake for some anti-bullying talks, schools, even behavioral hospital companies. So if you ever need us to come up there, just maybe a different way to bring it to the table, man, we'd love to come up there and see it too, all right?
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you. Check out Justin Garcia, JungleGymBronx.com. Jungle Gym Martial Arts. Learn how to fight and get in the best shape of your life while doing it. I agree with that. No doubt about it. Thank you, Justin. Have a great day, man.
Thank you so much, guys. Suck it up, fellas.
Beautiful. There you go.
Take care,
Justin
buddy.
Out the door. That's awesome.
Later.
This has been a production of SuckItUpUSA.com and EIGProductions.com. Heard exclusively on the Suck It Up Radio Network.